for sure.
Okay, Wendy, the recording is in process, and we have survived the week off, Wendy. Today is November the 2nd.
Yep.
We've got past Halloween. Tell me what's up, Wendy.
I don't know. I mean, Alabama won this week. When you don't play, you automatically win, which was fantastic. Trey, we didn't do Halloween. We had a few trick-or-treaters, and that was about it. But what about y'all? Did y'all have a good time? You've got littles, so...
Yeah, we had a good time. So if you hadn't listened to us before, we do this every week. We like to talk about college football, SEC football. We're both Alabama fans. I'm Trey. This is my sister, Wendy. And we get on here and talk about college football a little bit, really SEC football. And there is a lot to talk about. Wendy, as far as Halloween, it was a good year. You know, it was a good year. It was good weather down here. So we hit up, 15, 20 houses, whatever it was, wore the kids out. And they're happy. Everybody's happy. Halloween is officially over, and now we go into the fall Thanksgiving season.
Trey, it's called Christmas. No. Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving first. Thanksgiving comes first.
Sure. But everybody decorates for Christmas at this point. My Christmas stuff's going up. So I don't know what you're doing with your life, but my Christmas stuff's going up.
Okay. Well, that's just the way it's going to be. And Wendy, there's one quick question. I was thinking on the way into work today. Number one, I cut myself shaving.
Oh, no.
Yeah, cut myself shaving. That's what's up with that. Talking about listening to your radio in your car. When I'm by myself in my car, I can listen to the radio at full max. I'm talking about blaring the windows out of the car.
Yep.
But when you're riding in a car with somebody, they can put on the same song, going to the same place, whatever it is. And I can't handle the radio being that loud when I'm a passenger or when there's anybody else in the car. Wendy, has that ever happened to you, or what's up with that?
Yeah, what it is that when you're the passenger, so say you were riding with me and I was driving and I blasted Matchbox 20 or something, it's because automatically the passenger thinks the driver's not paying attention at that point. Then we start actually worrying about, are they paying attention to the road? But when we do it and we're driving, we're in control of both. It's the control. You lose control.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. Like, boy, when I'm by myself, I mean, I'm blasting some freaking music. But when anybody else is in the car, I'm riding in the car, I can't handle it that loud. Wendy, let's get on to some talking about some football. Wendy, we have last week, because we got to get to this week. I mean, last week was last week. I mean, let's just go down this. Tennessee ends up beating Kentucky in what was a really good football game, but the Tennessee Vols are back on track, and basically, Wendy, Tennessee found a way to get the dub.
They sure did. And listen, Kentucky just cannot beat Tennessee. I mean, it's just that simple. If you look back the last 7 to 9 years, they just cannot beat Tennessee. They can't get over the hump of beating Tennessee. So, but just like what you and I said, we knew they were going to bounce back, and they had to bounce back. They had to bounce back. They have to win out all these games. I don't know if they can beat Georgia here in a couple weeks, but their only other loss needs to be to Georgia, right? If they're going to lose another game, it can only be to Georgia. So congratulations to the Vols. I don't even know who they have this week because I haven't paid that much attention. We'll talk about it later. But I'm glad they won it. But Kentucky, Trey, you're right. They do this every year. You're 100% right. They start off, they're winning 5 or 6 games, and then they get to the back half of their schedule. They just can't do anything, man. They cannot do anything.
But Tennessee wins the game, and they play Connecticut this week, by the way, so they're basically all back. The only thing about the Tennessee game, and now I'm on it now with Heupel. Heupel, every penalty they show the coach. And typically when penalties are thrown, they do show the coach. I mean, but every time Heupel's like,
oh, yeah. Like he just can't believe it.
He's got some red thing that he's chewing on. His mouth is neon red.
Right.
And he's like, and then you see the replay, and it's like this guy literally just ripped this guy's head off. It's like every penalty is not, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's getting on my nerves, but Tennessee won again. Yeah. And they're going at it again. Wendy, the Georgia-Florida game was really one of the only other games that I was really paying attention to.
Yeah.
Florida comes out. We got Georgia-Florida down there. And once again, Wendy, the game is an absolute bust.
Yep.
I don't know why we get pumped up for the game because it is literally 9 times out of 10 a bust. It's not a fun game. Florida comes out and scores, and I'm like, hey, we're about to get into it.
Yep.
All right, cancel the plans. Everybody be quiet. We're about to watch a good football game, Wendy. Georgia basically says, all right, cool, is that all you got? And blast Florida off the planet, off the coast of Jacksonville. What's up?
Look, I mean, here's the thing, Trey. I thought Georgia looked better this week than they have looked all year. I mean that. I don't know if Florida's just that bad, but they've not missed a beat without this Bowers kid, right? Like they've not missed a beat. They're still doing what they do, and what they do best is win ball games right now. So yeah, but I mean, I told you, Trey, if I need the team to win, it's never happened in the history of my lifetime. Never happened in the history of my lifetime. So I knew without a shadow of a doubt that Florida was not going to be able to pull that game out because I needed them to beat Georgia. That was the casket lid getting shut right there.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking to Barry during the game, and you know, watching Georgia right now, it's almost like watching Alabama 5 or 6 years ago when Alabama was really dominant. It's like you watch these big games. It looks like it's going to be a game, and just something happens like 5 minutes of the game, and next thing you know, you've scored 20, 24 points, 27 points, and it's like this thing is over. And it happens really fast, like really, really fast. So Georgia just keeps on ticking. We'll see if anybody can give them a run for their money. Another really good game, Wendy, last week was Oklahoma, Kansas. It was a really good game. It had some weather elements to it. There were turnovers. There were huge mistakes, and Kansas ends up beating Oklahoma for the first time in like 19 years or whatever it was. It was a pretty wild game.
Wonderful game. Best game of the day. It had this weird rain delay. I actually started watching that game. So I was on the game when the rain delay came in. First off, thank you, Kansas. Thank you so much. If there's anybody in the history of the world that watches this from Kansas, thank you. Alabama needed Oklahoma to lose, right? I need all these no-loss teams to lose to get me a little bit closer to where I want to go. But I'm going to tell you something. Kansas looked really good. Now, they probably won't look that good the rest of the year, but didn't they have like a 5-2 record? Like their record wasn't terrible.
Kansas. This isn't your 5 year ago Kansas. This is a pretty good Kansas team. So it's not as shocking as a loss for Oklahoma, but they do go down.
They do go down, and that's what we needed. And listen, I was not an Oklahoma fan last week, but I give it to Kansas. That was a big game for some of these teams in the SEC that are trying to figure their way in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you're looking at one loss, you finally got that loss. Wendy, we're going to get to this week's game, and all I can say is
Trey, I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know what you're doing with your life. I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I keep thinking we've got home field advantage with LSU, but this Daniels kid is I'm telling you, this kid can score points. Like, he can score points. I don't know if we can get down in the first half and come back against LSU. It's almost a little bit like the Texas game. We were trying to come back in that second half, and we just couldn't figure out how to do it. We got too far behind. If we don't watch out, LSU is going to do the same thing to us if we don't watch out.
Well, Wendy, I agree with you. We're going to talk about the Alabama-LSU game. Let's go ahead and get it out. I mean, that's the biggest game of the day, biggest game of the week, whatever you want to say, Wendy. And you go back to this last year, Alabama goes down there. We're supposed to beat them. LSU had lost a couple of games, kind of similar to what they've done this year. And LSU beats Alabama last year. And Wendy, the Jalen Daniels kid is the prototypical quarterback that can beat Alabama, the prototypical quarterback that will keep you in most every game that you play. And he's coming to Tuscaloosa, Wendy, and he's primed. He's in great form. LSU is in great form. I know people are talking about their defense. But here's what the Alabama LSU deal is. The funny thing about Alabama LSU is Alabama really has owned LSU. Over the lifetime of the series. I mean, I think we went 40 years at one point and didn't lose down in Death Valley. I mean, it's kind of a wild thing. But here's what you've got with LSU, and this is how I view it. LSU has the athletes to match Alabama. Okay, so Alabama probably plays 3 or 4 teams a year that can match them athlete for athlete, and LSU can match Alabama athlete for athlete.
Right.
Then you get into the game plan, execution, and all this other stuff, and we're going to have a football game on our hands in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. But the one good thing is the game is at home.
Right.
And I really think if we can stop the Daniels kid, we saw him last year. That's what helps me. This
Right.
is not going to be a surprise. I don't know if you're going to stop him, but this is not a surprise for the Alabama coaching staff and the players that were on that team last year. This guy will not be a surprise this year. They know what he can do, Wendy. And I think this is going to be a really, really close game. And, you know, I think the key is, can we stop LSU? Do you think we can or not?
So here's some of my small issues. I don't think their defense is elite this year. I do feel like we can maybe poke some holes in that. Our defense is going to have to get us a couple scores in this game. That bottom line, we're going to need at least one score from the defense, right? I feel like when we can get some points from our defense, we end up winning those games, okay? 100% it's going to be a close game. We haven't even won a game that's not close all year. So for me to actually think we're just going to go in and dominate, but here's where I think I'm not so sure we've got it this year. Last year, we had a quarterback that could throw touchdown for touchdown with Daniels. We did. I mean, that's what we did. We did it with Tennessee last year. We had a quarterback that can throw touchdown for touchdown. Do you actually believe this guy can throw touchdown for touchdown, touchdown for touchdown? I don't know if I believe that he can. That's why I think our defense is going to have to figure out a way to score some points in this game. I don't know how we win any other way. I don't see our quarterback being able to keep up with the scoring of their quarterback. So I think that's where the issue. But again, our home field advantage, our fans need to get loud like they were against Tennessee and be in this ball game, y'all. Be in this ball game. That's what we need. The crowd is huge in these big moments and in these big games. So Trey, I just feel like my gut tells me we're going to pull it out, because I think with last year's game, and, you know, we went for two and there were some coaching calls that for the first time as Alabama fans, we were all a little bit like, whoa, what are we doing here? Right. So I think there's definitely some, hopefully from our coaching staff, that's like, we're not going to let this happen again. But where the fear comes in is it's a lot like this Texas team that we played earlier when we were at home. Although it was the second game, we just need to come out and score. When we have opportunities to score, we need to do that. But I do believe if our defense can score a few points for us, we might be okay in this game. I really believe that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And listen, I think some of this is going to come down to, can Alabama possess the football?
Yes.
And what I mean by possess the football is I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 9-minute drives. Can we possess the football, play the game of keeping the ball out of LSU's hands? We try to muddy up the game a little bit, try to get them out of their rhythm. And we can do that by keeping the ball, having some long sustained drives. And Wendy, that's going to include the running game.
Yep.
And it feels like we tried to run the ball this year, and it's like 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain, 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain. It doesn't feel like, even though we've tried it a lot, we haven't been successful. But to win this game, Wendy, we're going to have to run the football, and we're going to have to keep the ball out of Jalen Daniels' hands.
That's the issue. So if you're going to come out second half and throw bombs and score in 40 seconds, I'm with you. Right. But it seems like, Trey, to be fair, that's what we do best. He goes out, we don't look good for like 15 to 30 minutes, and then he comes out and he scores in 40 seconds. Like, we don't have the ball for a lot of the possession. You know what I mean? So you're right. But at the same time, if the only way I can score touchdowns is for him to throw 2 bombs in a row, then we've got to do that.
Bombs over Baghdad.
That's what makes this game so hard. I am more nervous in this game. I haven't even thought of one funny thing to say than I have been even that Tennessee game, Trey. Even that Tennessee game, I did not want to lose. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you right now, I'm a nervous. And you know what they did? They do this to me all the time. I think they have my phone number. But I'm going to tell you what they did. They made it a night game. So now we have to sit here all day long and wait for our game. So it just makes you nervous all day. You know what I mean? Yeah. But tell me the other games that are playing, because I don't even know what they are. I've only thought about my game this week.
Well, then tell me, what do you think the score is going to be, Wendy?
Well, it's going to be a high-scoring game because of Daniels. I'm going to say 28-31 Bama. I don't even know if
Bama's going to pull it out.
Well, I think if our I don't know. I can't pull for LSU. I mean, I can't pull for Brian Kelly, who I always give mad props for coming to the SEC West, knowing he had to play Saban every year. And I don't really like the guy. I don't think he's an SEC coach. But they've proven Alabama's proven me wrong the last couple of weeks. Like they've been able to come back and finish these games out. But some of it was bad coaching on the other end. Josh Heupel, like, what does that game look like if they had a coach that would actually not play soft to get against Nick Saban of all people? Like, who knows?
You got Alabama winning the game. Alabama's going to win the football game 32-28. I'm feeling 32-28, and there's a sneaky suspicion that possibly our field goal kicker Riker will come into play this game.
Right.
I just have a feeling there's going to be some field goals in this game, and we're going to need our kicker.
Yes.
So, all right, everybody get ready for the game out there. We're going to jump through here, Wendy. We got another big game, Georgia, Missouri. Missouri goes to Georgia, and everybody's talking about Missouri. So, blah, 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 blah. Does Georgia face plant Missouri or not?
I'm going with Missouri, and here's why. Trey, I don't care what you're getting ready to say. Let me tell you something about Mizzou. I don't know if y'all remember when Missouri came in, I don't know how long ago, when they won the SEC East their very first year, and then Alabama killed them in the SEC championship game. But they made it first year. Here's the thing. I think they match up well with Georgia, Trey. I think they match up well with Georgia. And I'm pulling for them like nobody you've ever seen. I don't even like the color brown, but I will wear it for Missouri. Trey, I've only got 2 more shots of getting Georgia beat. It's either Missouri or Tennessee. Either or. I'm pulling for everybody against Georgia. So, yeah, I'm going to Missouri. I think they've got a great coach. I think they've got a great quarterback. I've never seen them play, but I'm sure they're phenomenal. And I'm for it.
Well, and okay, I got you. Now, listen, the only way Missouri's going to win the game is Missouri is literally playing at 100%, gets a few breaks, and Georgia just doesn't come out of the locker room. And that could happen. It happens all the time. It could happen. But Georgia is just on a roll. And I will say one thing, this daggum quarterback is better than I think we thought he was going to be this year.
Agree.
I mean, what's his name? I can't remember his name now, the Georgia quarterback. I
just know Darton Daniels.
No, but so listen, Georgia looks to stay on track this week, but at least it'll be a good game. And Wendy, that will be a game that comes on right before the LSU Alabama game. That'll give us something to watch.
Right.
Wendy, your favorite Ole Miss plays Texas A&M. Wendy, yes. Ole Miss is on a roll. Ole Miss is still winning games, and Texas A&M, I believe, is going to Ole Miss. Trap game for Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays Georgia next week. That's one that we didn't mention, but they will play Georgia next week in a good game. This sets up for A&M to come in and win the game against Ole Miss. What's going to happen, Wendy?
Not going to happen. Kiffin and his hair, they have this thing figured out. He's going to be fine. Listen, I believe in Ole Miss. And I don't want Texas A&M to win another game because I want their coach fired. I'm done with Jimbo Fisher. I'm done with all the money they pay him. He's not a good coach. He is a good salesman. He sold y'all into something, but he's a great salesman. But I'm not into this guy, and the only way to get him out of the SEC is for him to lose. So it's going to be Lane Kiffin. It's going to be in the air, though. It's going to be an air show for sure.
Wendy, all I'm saying is you better be careful what you wish for.
You better
be careful what you wish for.
Or you're just trying to say this because that they've only got one loss, but the one loss is to me. Is that what you're thinking?
No, what I'm saying is you keep bashing on A&M that you want them to get a new coach, and all of a sudden they get a new coach and figure it out. Then it's another big time coach we got to play. Right now, would you rather play Jimbo Fisher or some?
Jimbo Fisher, because he's terrible.
So be careful with what you wish for when we get Jimbo Fisher out of here.
Do you think? I just think that Ole Miss's quarterback is better than Texas A&M's quarterback. Period. So I think the guy's going to go out there and throw darts all day. Like that's what
100% he is. 100% he is. Going to be a good offensive game, Wendy. We're going to come into a couple of the other stuff that's going on in college football. Wendy, this Michigan sign stealing thing is taking on new life. Last week we talked about it on the show on our deal here, and literally my head hurt. I really just didn't think there was much to it relative to nobody's going to do anything about it. Right. Yeah, it could have been done. It could have been done wrong, but nobody's really going to do anything about it. When some stuff comes out that quite possibly this guy from Michigan kind of talked to South Carolina last year and kind of gave away some state secrets. And it looked like South Carolina had some state secrets against Tennessee when they beat them 65-30. And also they beat Clemson too.
Yeah.
Wendy, the Michigan story just keeps deeper and deeper, and it's just kind of ugly.
It's nasty, and it's not fun for the game, and it feels very unfair. So Tennessee last year was really in contention. I don't know if they could have gotten in with an unbeaten TCU. You and I don't know that, right? I mean, the game, obviously the games would have been better, but the bottom line is you've now involved other coaches. So Shane Beamer, I will never be on you again. If the way that y'all are choosing to win ball games is by these unfair advantages, but let me tell you something.
It's allegedly, go ahead.
Yesterday or the day before, it came out that they found the dude on the sidelines of the Michigan State game. He was wearing a Michigan State shirt.
Central Michigan.
Central Michigan, sorry. Central Michigan. It was standing on the sidelines the whole entire game. Like, this guy has no shame. You got to give it to the guy that was doing it, though. Like, I mean, it's ballsy, but it just makes what Michigan's done the last 2 years not relevant to me. And I don't think it's fair that they're in the top 4. I don't think it's fair that something's not being done about it right now. Like, you heard that he got tickets to an Alabama game. I don't know if they actually ever went. But then they went to a Clemson game, they went to the Tennessee game, and then gave that because Tennessee was in Michigan's way. So it just seems so shady, but I don't know how you fix it. Like, all the other coaches are talking about putting the stuff in the ears, you know, how the NFL has it.
Yeah, put the microphone, and that'll happen too. But Wendy, I mean, there is some, you know, once again, there's drama in college football. Wendy, we're a couple more things real quick. Is Clemson and Dabo Swinney's been in the news this week. And, you know, you have Dabo not having a good year. I think they're 4-4, you know, kind of going back and forth with a caller. Wendy, Dabo is from where we're from. We know Dabo. And I would just say this. I think he said, they've had 12 10-win seasons in a row.
Right.
Wendy, that is hard to do, period, anywhere at any level of football,
Agreed.
Much less the highest level of college football. And to beat some of the teams that he has beaten along the way, Wendy, I don't understand people. Like, they have a bad year, and okay, well, it's obvious they're having a bad year. This doesn't mean he's a bad coach. He didn't hit on a coordinator. He didn't hit on a couple of players. It happens. Regroup and go back at it next year. I don't like all this stuff that people are bashing Dabo. It's a bad year. Hopefully he can get it together. But, I mean, my gosh, get a grip, people. I mean, seriously, get a grip.
I agree. I think it's unfair to go after the coach. I think what I'm hearing, though, a lot of their problems is that he's just not utilizing the portal. And he has been very upfront and very steadfast that he doesn't want to go that route. Well, Trey, when everybody else in college football's doing it, at some point he's going to have to kind of go with where it's going. And I agree with you. The guy's done amazing things at Clemson. They weren't looking like that before he got there. That's for sure. Yeah. But I also think that sometimes his personality can come across a little bit like that he's smarter, or, you know, than the people he's talking to. And I just think that naturally ticks people off. You see what I'm saying? I agree with you. I don't think, and I'll go back to, they lost last year to South Carolina. That was kind of when it all started getting talked about, right? Yeah. Now we know they have an unfair advantage. So I want you to think about what all Michigan has done, putting even other coaches on the hot seat. Right?
Yeah. And Wendy, we'll jump off here. You know, the producer of the show did mention last week that I forgot to mention the Turners and the Tider Outsider tailgate at the Alabama-Tennessee game. That is somewhere that we stopped by. Rita Turner, Dr. Turner, all those groups, they have a tailgate called the Tider Outsiders. Yep. We have went there for years and years and years. Wendy, it used to be rocking and rolling. It is slowing down a little bit, but wanted to give them a shout out too. I didn't mention them last week, but Wendy, all right, we're getting off here. LSU, Alabama, what's up? What are you going to be doing? We got to go.
Nothing. Shout out to Mommy B and Bob for being avid listeners. They're always the first to listen. Love you, Val. So excited about y'all's game coming up this week. You know, I've been hard on my Tennessee fans, so I needed to kind of make up there. But listen, we appreciate everybody that turns this on and watches it. We have a good time doing it, and I absolutely love it.
And all I have to say is I got to go to the UAB game at 2:00 on Saturday. And I've made it real clear. I'm saying at 6:00 on Saturday night, I don't want anybody asking me to do anything.
Right.
I don't want to put batteries in remotes.
Right.
I don't want to go cut down a tree limb. I don't want to go check your air pressure in your car tires.
Right.
I'm going to be watching this game. Hope y'all enjoy it. Roll Tide. Let's get it on. I love you.
Roll Tide. I'm so nervous, but Roll Tide. Love you.
Love you. Bye.